So we have a very special guest on the line. I'm really excited. His name is William, but everybody knows him far more and better as The Daily Shooter. And The Daily Shooter is a fantastic YouTube channel where William does a lot of really informative videos about Second Amendment issues, product reviews, all kinds of stuff. And it's just a fantastic patriot, a great guy. I'm really honored to have him on. 111,000 subscribers, 618 videos. This guy's a YouTube Second Amendment legend. William, are you there?
Yes, sir. I am here. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you doing what you do on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely my pleasure. It's a labor of love.
So how long have you been, let's start with from the beginning, how long have you been producing videos for YouTube?
I started about 5 years ago, just doing the standard knife, gun, and gear review. I didn't really have an interest in doing any of the Second Amendment stuff, but it wasn't until I really noticed how restrictive things were that I couldn't get stuff to review that kind of forced me into that arena.
Because you actually live in California, right?
I do. I live in one of the worst counties as well, L.A. County.
No.
Yeah. You take bad and it gets even worse for us.
So you're living in L.A. County. I imagine, have you been a gun guy for a long time? Or tell us a little bit about how you got into firearms.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was younger, I always had a fascination with it. You know, I was always the kid that hid those gun magazines under my bed instead of other stuff, and just loved reading about it. And my dad would take us out shooting shotguns. We would go shoot skeet and, blow up water bottles, and it was always just a lot of fun. And then when I became an adult, I decided to get a little bit more into it and had a lot of fun with it. And it was kind of at that time that I realized how much more fun other people were having in different states, and that's when it became more of a passion than just a fun thing to do.
So you decided to do some product review videos or more political? Or?
Yeah, so initially it was just, I wanted to have some fun, and I was watching a lot of YouTube channels at the time, people that were really big, and, I thought I have a lot of the same passions that they do in firearms and gear, and so I started posting videos here and there, and as time went on, I noticed that a lot of people were saying, hey, you're in California, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And the fun of doing the product reviews almost became secondary to whatever the topic was of the day. And so the channel sort of morphed into half Second Amendment advocacy, and then the other half was still doing my product reviews. So the product reviews is where my passion was, but then living in California, obviously, we have so much to talk about on a daily basis.
So The Daily Shooter is the name of your channel, and I'm a big fan. I love the way you do your product reviews. I like the way that you communicate very much. I think that's what the name implies, is you're just kind of a normal guy who is into firearms, and you just kind of lay it out there pretty plainly. Is that the reason for the name, The Daily Shooter?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was one of those things where at the time I was actually sitting there with a gun that I would shoot the most. It was my daily shooter. It was just the gun that I would go out with and have some fun. And that's always been kind of my thing. I didn't want to be one of those overly produced channels that's just too cinematic. I'm just a regular guy. I have a wife and 3 kids, and we like to enjoy our freedoms. And that's kind of where the channel name came from, was just, average, like you said, everyday ordinary guy that would go out and just have some fun shooting.
But you do a really good job of getting to the important points, especially with the product reviews. I know sometimes I'll wonder, like, some gun or product or whatever, and I'll do a search on YouTube to see who's done. And, there's some of these guys out there that turn what should be about a 4-minute video into about a 30-minute ordeal. And it's like, oh, my gosh, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Bob, 1, 2, 3. I haven't done a video in a while, and I'm in my garage. And, but you do a fantastic job. You get right to the point. You hit the highlights. You tell people what they need to know and your impressions. And I think you do a great job.
Well, thank you. The thing is, it's really easy when you're truly excited about something, and that's something that I like to convey. If you see me overly excited, it's because I'm truly overly excited about something. It caught my interest in some way, and I try and convey that. And sometimes it seems like maybe I'm just a little bit over enthusiastic, but that's actually the case. I try something, I really like it, and I want to tell people about it. And the thing is, it's probably a 30, 40-minute video right before it goes into editing. And so I'll take it into editing, and I'll do 3 or 4 hours just sitting there editing one video down to 5 to 8 minutes.
I believe it.
And so there's a lot of work that goes into it.
So 100,000 plus subscribers. Why do you think your channel resonates with people, and what do you think the breakdown is? Do you think most are in California, or is it national?
Well, I do have a pretty good support base across the entire country. It's surprising to find out how many people are fans in Australia and Germany and so many other countries. But I think a majority of my base is here in California. I'm going to say at least 60% are here in California. It's just we have a huge gun community in this state, and it's funny because whenever the numbers come out and people talk about how many 4473s, how much paperwork was done and submitted to the FBI for background checks in California each year, other states are shocked at how many of those things come from California.
Yeah.
We just have a huge community, but it's a little bit more pushed back in the dark, and so I think most of my support does come from this state. But I think you'd be surprised, though, in the rest of the country with the emails, the messages I get of support and people that actually want to help from outside the state.
I believe you. And, California is such a big state. We have more, we have so many people that we have more gun owners than, some of the smaller states have, a population. I mean, there are some of the smaller states out there that only have a few million people. We have, 5 times as many gun owners in the state of California as they have an entire population. And if you take out LA and San Francisco, if we would just get a little more organized, I think that we could really, do some good in the state of California.
I agree. And that's one of the things that I try and work on, too, is trying to make, one cohesive group of people. Because when you say gun community, it's really kind of a loose-knit group of, you have the guys like me who are shooting every single day. They believe in family values and self-defense and, the right to keep and bear arms. And we're out there. We try and make our voices heard. And then you have another group of guys who maybe bought an AR-15 or 2 during the Obama administration, and they put them in the safe, and they go shooting maybe every 60 or 70 days. And for them, they don't even understand the laws and the things that are coming down the pipeline. But if we were able to inform them, maybe they just happen upon a video, and then we're able to inform them and get them together with us, well, then our group becomes bigger and a more united voice. So that's, again, part of what I'm trying to do.
Hey, you're doing a great job. We have to go to a commercial break. Do you mind? Can you stay for another segment? Can you hold on for
Absolutely.
just a couple? Okay, great. Fantastic.
All right. Well, see, you are a wizard, no matter what they say. Hey, this is Gun Sports Radio, right here on AM 1170. By the way, Trident Gunsmithing, you need to check these guys out. Go to TridentGunsmithing.com. If you're a hunter and you really want to get into it, they've got classes. They'll even teach how to cook the game you shoot. They'll even teach how to clean it if you want to. But the main thing is they've got a gunsmith there that is a wizard. He can do anything and everything you want. I was in there yesterday. Had a guy come in and he had the cartridge stuck in the barrel. Whoever hears of that? But I got a feeling he got it out, right?
Not yet, but we're working on it.
Oh, it's that big of a pain.
Yeah, that big of a pain. It's stuck in there, yeah.
Oh, no. All right, we'll find out more from Juan on that when we get back right here on Gun Sports Radio, AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome back. You are listening to Gun Sports Radio right here on AM 1170, The Answer. This segment's brought to you by Gasky, Dillon, and Balance. Anytime you need legal advice of any kind, then that's where you need to be. Gasky, Dillon, and Balance. 760-431-9501 or go to cafirearmslaw.com. cafirearmslaw.com. They'll take care of all of your legal needs and do it in such a professional fashion. You'll be thrilled to death. So, Michael, you decided to hold our guest over. You want to do a quick intro?
Absolutely, yeah. William with the Daily Shooter. We've been talking with him on how he got started and how he began his YouTube channel. And you went from product reviews, William, to getting pretty heavily involved with the political side of California, which gives you. There's a lot of content to work with. Some of the horrible gun laws here in California. Talk about how you started to transition, or I should say, maybe add to the channel some of the political things that were coming down the pike.
Well, that one was actually kind of a difficult one because it's so hard to navigate the political waters, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment in California, due to the fact that everything changes every 5 minutes. I was really reluctant at first, and to be honest with you, when I first started speaking out about California issues, because at the time my channel was mostly geared towards reviews and the people that were subscribed to me were from everywhere, I actually faced quite a bit of ridicule. I got a lot of backlash just from being from California. It sort of took you down a notch. People looked at you a little bit different because, here you are, a gun reviewer, and you're in a state that really highly restricts guns. But in essence, that is kind of what motivated me to continue with it, to prove to people that, look, there is a voice out here. And if you want to talk about patriots and patriotism, you're going to find more here in California because we're in the fight every single day. And so that actually motivated me to continue to push forward. And it was tough at first. I did not know what I was getting myself into. But as I became, more read into what was going on and more up to date and followed more information as it came in, it just became almost like a natural thing.
And you hit the nail on the head. We're in the fight every single day, and I've made the point, and this has rubbed people the wrong way in the past, but I stand by it. I've made the point that, we should be ridiculing people in other states for not coming out here and helping. This is where the fight is. And when you look at people's Facebook page or Instagram, and they have their tough guy memes on how, from my cold dead hands or whatever. Yeah, well, that's real easy to say when you're not in California or New York, or you're not in one of these states where the fight is. This is where the Second Amendment fight is. So if it really means something to you, get out here and help us. If it's just some toys that you like to play with at the range, okay, fine. Move to Arizona. But what are your thoughts on, have you ever considered moving, or what are your thoughts on all these I'm moving to Arizona, Nevada, Texas types?
Well, I never blame anybody for wanting to move. There's several reasons that people would want to move from California, firearms just being one of them. So I never ridicule for anybody wanting to be more free. That's fine. You live your life the way that you do. I'd be a hypocrite if I were to judge you for you doing your way. But at the same time, for those people that do stay, there's just so much respect that I give them for staying if they have the opportunity to leave but choose not to. Obviously, I'd be lying if I say I didn't think about moving. I think about moving all the time because here I am in public. I have these guns. I don't even know. I could be breaking the law right now. And because of California law, I probably don't even know it. And I've got my ear to the ground, and I still probably don't even know it. So there's times where you think about it, but at the same time, you fight for what you have here, and you try and motivate other people to stay and fight as well. But if they make the other choice, you have to, let them go and wish them the best of luck, and hopefully they enjoy it where they are. But try and remember that when they go to where they're going, to keep up the fight so that the anti-gunners don't encroach on that state as well.
Well, you know what? I think that's really well said, and I think that's very gentlemanly of you and very well said. And just a reminder, you were just a normal guy with a family who decided, hey, this is how I'm going to help with the daily shooter, and it just says a lot on what a regular guy living here in California and behind enemy lines can accomplish if they follow their passions and everything. So, what's the most important?
It's something that I'll continue to do.
Excellent. Thank you. What's the most important thing you want people to know about the daily shooter, or you want people to know about California laws or firearms in general?
I think the biggest thing that I want people to understand is that the fight is never truly over. There's the biggest question that I get is, hey, do you think California is a lost cause? And I think until the final verdict is in, no, it's not a lost cause. There is always room to fight. There is always room to push forward. Remember the people that are fighting for us, groups and gun advocacy groups that are fighting for us, that are always out there on the front lines trying to make a change. And until the fat lady sings, there is still hope for this state. So as long as you keep that hope in your heart, there is no reason to stop fighting.
Well, what law, either current or proposed, do you think is what scares you the most? What's the worst that, in your opinion, that we have here in California?
There's a lot of bad ones out here. I think a lot of people would probably say the current assault weapons ban is the worst. However, in my opinion, I think the worst one that we have is the handgun roster, and that's the one that I would like to see overturned the most, because as firearms drop off every single year and there's less and less on the roster, there's less and less firearms to suit each and every person of the state. And, that's basically just a backdoor ban in itself.
Yeah, and I remember when it was being proposed, and all the pro Second Amendment folks said, "Hey, this is going to turn into a de facto ban," and everybody said, "Oh, you got your tinfoil hat on," and nope, we were right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what? Putting laws aside for a second, what's your favorite gun? What do you like to? If you're going to go out and shoot tomorrow, what are you shooting?
You know what? Recently, my favorite gun has become the Smith & Wesson M&P9.
All right.
I absolutely love the ergonomics on that gun. It is so nice to shoot.
So in LA County, where do you do? Do they have? I don't even know.
405.
Yeah,
That's real easy.
That is one of the things that we're lucky about, because I live in North LA County, in the Antelope Valley, and I have BLM land as far as the eye can see. So I can head out to the desert, do some shooting. The unfortunate thing is you have a lot of other people that shoot TVs and leave their trash out there, so places are being closed left and right. But we have plenty of places, open area to shoot up here.
We have a member up in Orange County, because there's San Diego County Gun Owners. We also have launched Orange County Gun Owners, and one of the members up there, a lot of times at the meetings we go around and introduce ourselves. I'm so and so. I'm from wherever, and he introduces himself. He says, "Yeah, I grew up in Compton." Or he says, "I'm into guns. I grew up in Compton, so I grew up around guns." And that's his, that's his little joke that he likes to say. But
Right, of course.
But so I think a lot of people, think LA, think downtown Hollywood and that sort of thing. But it sounds like you live in a little bit more of a suburban, or maybe even a rural section, and they have outdoor ranges and or just shooting areas, or which
outdoor ranges, indoor ranges. We actually have a big Second Amendment community where I live. There are a lot of shooters. I'm lucky enough to have several FFLs within a 5-minute radius. So we're not hurting in that aspect. You're talking about, like you were saying, Hollywood and, LA and the inner cities, where it's much harder to actually practice your Second Amendment rights. That's where it's more difficult. So I'm definitely lucky in that I live kind of on the outskirts.
Now, what would you like to see the Second Amendment community across California become? Or what do you think the most important thing for a shooter to do is in California?
I guess I think the best thing to do is probably just educate the younger shooter. It's really sad, and to think that a lot of the youth out there is being indoctrinated, and in some ways have grown up without firearms and without really understanding the Second Amendment. And as they're being indoctrinated and they go through life not knowing, it's better if you have somebody who can be sort of a mentor and say, "Hey, look, guns can be fun." You hear on the news all the time that guns are just weapons of war. They're just there to hurt people, and you're more likely. There's all sorts of bad things that you would hear, and you see what happens in movies. But if you show them, look, there's a lot of sport. There's fun. This is a great way to defend yourself. It's a great way to defend your friends and family. But at the same time, go to the range, make a competition about it. There is a lot. There's 3 gun competitions now. You have shotgun competitions, and really, there's so much you can do with firearms that isn't even related to self-defense. It's just one of those things where people don't know about it. So educate somebody younger and let them know that, hey, this is a fun sport that you can get out and you can do with your entire family.
I think that's great advice. Are you worried about the strong possibility of a Governor Gavin, or do you think it's just going to continue business as usual and there's not going to be much of an impact?
No, I'm terrified. I would be lying otherwise. I think Gavin Newsom is the worst thing that could happen to this state, other than voting in Jerry Brown twice. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that mistake could happen 2 times. But when Gavin Newsom gets into office, he's going to have a pen, and that pen could sign absolutely everything over, and he'll just let the DOJ handle it, let it go through the court system, and we all know that the court system could take up to a decade in order to get some of these things all squared away. And in the meantime, he can just sign away. It is extremely important that we do not let him get in office, and that we use our vote to make that happen.
Well, we better work our tails off. Well, you can imagine, you're doing your videos, and we're trying to do a radio. We've been doing it 2 years, and so far, so good. But we're kind of like you. We're constantly looking over our shoulders as well.
Exactly.
And how do people find you? Tell them if they want to check out the Daily Shooter. What do they do?
Sure, it's very easy. Just youtube.com/The Daily Shooter, or if you want to search on Instagram, it's The Daily Shooter 76, and on Facebook, The Daily Shooter 1776.
All right.
If you are more into the firearms industry and you want to avoid all the Google stuff, you can also go over to Full 30 in The Daily Shooter over there. It's just for guns.
Sounds fantastic. All right, buddy. Hey,
Thanks,
thank you very much,
it.
and we look forward to having you back on.
Thank you, sir. You guys have a great day.
All right. Hey, folks, do you or any of your family members own a firearm?